Got Your Back Pod Stream is powered by Play Alberta. Did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $250,000 on Cleopatra 2? From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions, there's never been a better time to sign up. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
The state of Florida just runs roughshod on Alberta this week. Welcome to Got Your Back, folks. Post-game edition, the Tampa Bay Lightning and that Nikita Kucherov. How good is this guy? They come rolling through town, piles up 4 points and a dominant night against the Edmonton Oilers. Looking forward to breaking this one down. We've got Struds, we'll have Brownie, we got Zuby at the controls, and I am ready to rock and roll. Struds, as always, our show is brought to you by our title sponsor, Timber House Developments.
If you're thinking of a garden suite, infill development, or a fully custom home, talk to Timber House. With a full team of in-house designers and decades of construction experience, they bring your ideas to life. From slides hidden inside kitchen islands to garden suites for aging parents to stunning estate homes and everything in between, visit timberhouse.ca.
Okay, as we say good evening to Zoobs and to Struds, I gotta say, guys, I'm sensing quite a bit of frustration in and around the Oiler group, which is understandable. Sensing lots of frustration from the fans, but this extends. This is extended into our Got Your Back family a little bit. We are scrappy in the Got Your Back chat, fellas. Like, it has been on, Struddy.
Yeah, I guess. there's just various parts of the game that we don't all see eye to eye on. And generally speaking, it's kind of one versus one, then one guy's kind of coming off the top rope sometimes.
Oh, Brownie is just swinging for the fences, Zoobs. Everything.
He is. The best part is I've been able to turn this into something of a cottage industry because I'm selling screenshots to people on the Discord for 50 cents a screenshot. I DM them directly.
Oh,
you want to see what Brownie said? No.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's great. I think the discussion is it's interesting. I kind of try to stay out of it. But I don't know. I think you guys are respectful, but yeah, there's lots of disagreement.
Oh,
so
buddy.
I always know what's coming up
good.
on. It's like a preview. I know what's coming up on the pod well in advance.
Oh, I know. Yeah, and you don't. By the way, you don't need to stay out of it, buddy. You got a chip and you got a chair and you got a seat on this show. Like, and in particular on nights where you're disagreeing with Brownie, feel free to chime in, buddy.
Yeah, I'll keep that in mind.
All right, sounds good. Okay, boys, we got a ton to break down, including some interesting post-game comments from Connor McDavid as well that has the town somewhat buzzing here post-game. So we'll dive into that and what happened in this game, Struds, in our breakdown brought to you by the Canadian Brew House.
Real fans know the move. Arrive early. Happy hour at the Canadian Brew House runs Monday to Saturday, 2 to 6 p.m. starting at $3.99. Get in, get comfy, get happy at the Canadian Brew House.
Okay, so the Tampa Bay Lightning roll through town, and listen, it was a tough night on a couple of fronts for some of the Oilers big guns, some of the big minute guys, tough analytics against some of the big Tampa guys, and it ends up being back-to-back losses here, Struds. After the game, McDavid, clearly frustrated, in his scrum was asked a number of questions, but it was definitely notable that at least twice, if not 3 times during the scrum, he really marveled at that Tampa team about how good they are, how well coached they are. We've heard players talk like this before, and quite often it's after playing the Tampa Bay Lightning because they are such a well-organized group, but it was just notable. So for anybody that hasn't had a chance to hear it, we're just going to go right to it here, Zuby. Let's get to McDavid post-game, couple of clips, and then if you have Chris Knobloch's reaction as well, Chris, go ahead and run that.
Okay, so yeah, I'll play Connor's back-to-back, and that follows with your question, and then we'll go to Knobloch.
It's playing great, obviously. Playing on a great team with a lot of great players over there. They got a great system. They're perfectly coached. They all know what they're doing. All over the ice, it's impressive. They're a great team. They're good. They're good, obviously. They're very good. As I said, they're extremely well coached. They're extremely well organized. They're very, very rehearsed in everything that they do. It's very impressive. Very, very impressive. And when you do break them down, they got a heck of a goalie to backstop them.
Is that just a bunch of time doing the same things over and over again? Like, how do you guys get to that, to be that rehearsed, and to have that system you can rely on and all those things? Where does that come from? How do you guys get there?
Yeah, well, that's a coaching question. You can ask Nabra that question. Obviously we've been playing together a long time, and we feel like we're somewhat rehearsed and organized, but not to their level.
And then this was Knobloch. I think sort of the tail end of the question was, is there a level that the team needs to get back to?
I don't think so. I think the organization is fine. We've got a lot of new players right now with the injuries that we have. We've got some turnover. I think they had, obviously Hedman being out. They've been together for a long time, the group, and our core guys have been together for a long time too. So, when things are going well, things are, it looks organized and they're playing well. So, but they got a lot of good players.
So just to put that last clip into further context, Reed Wilkins asked Knobloch, he mentioned Connor said they're very organized, well-rehearsed group. Is that something you guys need to improve in? And there was a pretty long pause from Knobloch. He sort of processed it, and then that was the answer that he gave. So Struds, here is my read on this. I think, there's a chance people are going to take this and run really, really far with it. Reading into what Connor was meaning, reading into Connor's intentions with those comments and such. And I think it's probably somewhat natural and, maybe not entirely unfair for people that are going to do that. I'm going to tell you what I sensed. I sensed a really frustrated player who was exasperated after playing an extremely frustrated game against a team that is very well organized and very well rehearsed and at times overwhelming. And he was expressing what he felt out there on this night. With that said, McDavid understands, he understands the gravity of his words. And when he says stuff, it matters, right? And when you couple this with Leon Draisaitl's comments before the Olympics, there are people that are going to want to take this and really, really read into it. I don't know that I'm willing to go there to suggest that was Connor's intention here, that he was, doing this purposefully. I think this was a frustrated player coming off a game where he's pissed off, somewhat overwhelmed, and he said what he said, Struds.
Yeah, I mean, it's a strong statement from Connor McDavid. Anytime he says anything, it's going to be strong. It's going to be interpreted. And every person that has access to these words is going to try to figure out his intention. So, I look at this. He just had John Cooper as a coach at the Olympics. It wasn't even a month ago he was skating, in front of this guy. Maybe there was, some interaction there, and they've done it twice now in the last year. So he probably has some appreciation. And John Cooper is a good coach. He's been there for a long time. And this team is playing really well. Like Tampa, I know they softened up a little bit post break, but they look really good right now. Tonight, they were all over the Oilers in, some pretty important parts of the game. But, my phone blew up asking what these comments mean. I think it's a player that is frustrated with the way the season's gone for the Oilers this year. And, I think it was complimenting the team he was playing against. And I feel like, now I'm going to put words in his mouth, I feel like that's where he wants his team to be, playing like that, playing together, everyone's doing the system correctly. They're all organized. They're all on the same page. Because right now it's not all working. I'm not saying anything crazy here. That's what the record says. They're not winning all as many games as they want to. So I think this is a compliment to a team at a level that he would like his team to get to. And when he how can they get there in that system was a good follow-up question by you. And that's a coaching question. And I agree with him. That is not, that's Knobloch's job or any coach's job to help their team find their way to the system, to play the system the highest and best way they possibly can. Because the players can say, well, we got to do this or that. But I do believe that's a coaching's job of any team, any sport.
Yeah. Well said, Struds. And, if I had a do-over on that follow-up question, I think the better question would be, do you have faith that you guys can get there with your system, right? Because then if he does, and if he feels that, maybe he expresses that and it kind of cleans things up a little bit, right? Yeah, I think all of that's really well said, Struds. But I will say this, and I've been interviewing McDavid since before he came into the league. I think that when you say another team has a perfect coach, they're perfectly coached. No matter how complimentary or deferential you might be, or respectful you might be trying to be, when you say that about another team's coach, the hockey world is going to look at your coach. I just think that is natural, and I don't think it's ridiculous to say, McDavid probably should know that. So, intentional or not, probably some of what's going to happen here, like when's their next game? Tuesday? They got tomorrow, Monday's a travel day, I think, and then they think they play on Tuesday. So now you've got 3 days before your next game, and these comments kind of hanging out there. And, I don't think McDavid misunderstands the gravity of the things that he says. So, to me, when you go that far and multiple times in an interview and you refer to their system and their coaching, I should say, as perfect, that naturally is going to have people jumping to, some conclusions and stuff. I think, I think because he said it the way he did, I kind of get it. And we're not in his head. And you know what? Maybe there's, an opportunity in the next couple of days if he talks again to check in with him. I did the same thing with Draisaitl, right? Draisaitl said what he said on the way out the door to the Olympics. And I caught up with him in Italy and was able to ask him. And but Draisaitl kind of, did that first this year. And he included himself in that. So that's interesting. And very interested to get Rob Brown's opinion on that as well. Moving past that, Struds, I do have to say, this was not a great night from McDavid. The Tampa Bay Lightning Stars came in and ran roughshod and lit them up, quite frankly. And I'm not home, so I can't pull the numbers up. I will when I get home. But the possession numbers, just the way this thing went, was not great for McDavid on this night.
Yeah, they were really they spent quite a bit of time in their own zone and got outshot heavily when they were out there against the big guys. And, I think it's tough. Like they were asked, I forget who was asked, was it Knobloch was asked post-game about it and just said, when you play against other good players, sometimes you're going to have a night like that. And I'm paraphrasing, but that is true. They were all over him. Like I'm thinking the Kucherov's last goal. I mean, puck battle, one behind the net. Ekholm is expecting maybe an overpass behind the net, and he's behind the net. The puck comes from, I think, Hagel to Cirelli right to Kucherov, and Kucherov is by himself. And he is the last player on the ice on both teams you want shooting from there. That looked like a warm-up drill, just catch and shoot. I mean, he loves that kind of slinging wrist shot that he has there. And you're chewing on it, and pretty much the game's over at that point. So you're going to have nights like that. You generally speaking, when you're top guys who lose to the other guys, top guys head to head, it's going to be a tough night for a team to win.
Third straight game, third new set of lines. I'm not going to say that's why they lost. I'm not going to, give that too much credence, but I have to say, Struds, not really understanding all the movement. Like I can't imagine the players are loving it. It does not lend itself to the team being able to find any sort of groove. Practiced in different lines yesterday than they played in today. Like it's getting messy, and I'm not quite understanding what the plan is to try and find some synergy here and why it's just this jumbled up set of lines night after night.
So I saw the lines roll out. I'm like, oh, this is odd. As you, I'm like, they're changing the lines again. And I'm like, I like the games 3 games. So the line's 3 games ago. I didn't love them last game. Tonight, I'm like, okay, they put the big guys back together. How are the other lines going to do? Well, the other 3 lines did fine. I thought the other 3 lines were good. It was the big line that struggled, the one they put back together in the first place. So that to me was a surprise tonight. That was the line that struggled tonight against the Tampa Bay Lightning. So it's been a lot of line changing, a lot of line juggling. I don't like it. I think that there are some lines that made sense. Now with Leon out, maybe you're trying to find something that we're missing or we're not seeing. But I would sure that stability does matter. I think on some level, especially when the lines aren't doing too bad. So I'm interested now, foreshadowing, what do we do in Utah? If you're the coaching staff, do you change the lines up again? Depends who you're playing against? Because maybe tonight they wanted big guns against big guns, right? They wanted veteran guys against veteran guys. Well, it didn't work, right? It didn't work. Connor versus Kucherov, that battle didn't work tonight.
And there was a shift kind of midway as well. Like I remember coming out of a commercial break, there was an offensive zone face-off, and McDavid. It was coming out of the goal. It was coming out of the goal. That we'll talk about the 5-on-3 and the goal in a minute. But while we're talking matchups, Knobloch threw Szymanski over the boards against Kucherov for an offensive zone face-off coming out of a commercial break. McDavid was hanging both legs over the boards. He was ready to go, and then had to spin himself around and get back on the bench because, they threw a different line out there. So, adjustments were made. That 5-on-3 Struds, like, things got a little crazy with all the penalties, and I thought, we can talk about the Oilers responding. I thought they did a good job of that tonight. I thought the refs bid on some dives both ways, but that 5-on-3 was the TSN turning point of this one.
That's exactly what it was. I hear in my notes, I'm like, that was the time where you get back into it. And, they had a couple chances. Bush, had a couple. And then, just the way it works out. Again, the wrong guy to come out of the penalty box and then to get a breakaway. Like of everyone on the ice, there's 2 guys you don't want, probably tied, Connor and Kucherov. And the odds of that guy getting that play at that time, coming out of the penalty box, are pretty low. And they make some pay. He may look so easy, which elite players like Connor and Kucherov do all the time. But that 5-on-3, man, they needed that. They needed that so badly. And they're trying to figure it out where everyone should be. And it seemed like Bush kind of moved into a shooting position. But it was like there's just moments in the game where you need to come through. Maybe it's a penalty kill, maybe it's a power play, whatever, a face-off win. And that was a huge moment in this game to kind of get the Oilers back into it.
Was that the same play where McDavid got dropped in front of the net by the Lilberg? I know there was a really frustrating play for. He got kind of a little bit of a cross check in front, got dropped.
He did.
And then puck all the way down the other end of the ice. It ends up in. He goes to the bench. He slams his stick. Like, he was so frustrated after that. I've never seen or seldom seen McDavid sit for an entire commercial break with his helmet off, his gloves up on the boards, just sitting there shaking his head angry. That was they knew that was going to be a tough one to overcome.
Yeah, it's a good team. Tampa's a really good team. They're organized. I don't have to. Connor said it post game, and they're doing it without arguably their best defenseman now. Guys like JJ Moser and company and Radish. Where the hell did Radish come from? This guy he's playing really well. Loves to shoot the puck.
Bombing it.
Yeah, he is. He does have a bomb. But like JJ Moser, he came over for Sergachev from then Arizona, now Utah. And, I was like, geez, that seems pretty rich. But I think there was maybe a pick in there as well or something. Or maybe a young kid or whatever prospect. But, he looks pretty good as well. He's playing well without their big guy. But, yeah, that, if you're able to tie that up at that moment, you're probably feeling pretty good about yourself. But when Kucherov scores, now that's a pretty big hole to dig out of. They got the gift. Szymanski, probably not the way you dropped your first goal, but they got that gift, and still just tough to get that going after that.
For sure. Let's get to the relentless player of the evening, Struds. That's brought to you by our good friends over at UCAN Youth Services.
Yeah, you need reliable entry-level staff. UCAN trains Edmonton youth with the skills and confidence to show up ready to work and to grow with your team. Learn more and make a change today at ucan.ca. Kucherov, I mean, this guy has been on fire for a while now, and tonight he only was able to get 4 points in a 5-2 win. He was, he was really, really good, and he is always good. He's just such a smart player, right? I don't know, you look at, let's just put the three of them, McKinnon, McDavid, and Kucherov. All three do it differently, but the first two definitely use more speed than Kucherov. And I'm not them saying Kucherov's slow, but he's more of a bit of slow the game down, thinking, where am I supposed to be? How do I shoot? So yeah, 4 points for him, plus 3. He had 7 shots. Like, the guy was everywhere on the ice.
He is on an unreal tear. I mean, it is insane. I'm not sure what the stat updates to tonight, but I mean, it's crazy the pace that he's on. And that's what McDavid was originally asked about when he first started talking about how well they are coached and stuff, is the year that Kucherov is having. He's just blowing the doors off. Let's get to some more sound from the sound box, shall we? Brought to you by our friends over at Weiss Johnson Struds.
Offering no interest for 24 months to make your purchase easier. Visit wjjingle.com for exclusive specials just for Got Your Back Jingle lovers. Again, I'm sorry, boys and girls. I think this has got to be somewhat muted.
Weiss Johnson, whoa.
All right, Zuby, what was left in the old Weiss Johnson soundbox? We hear from Connor Murphy tonight?
No, that's the only one we have left here. So it was talked about the relative success of his pairing playing against Kucherov. That's where it starts anyway.
It doesn't feel like success when you lose the game, and they were still able to score tonight. So I wouldn't say we feel too good about an overall outcome, and it's more so just as a pair, we're trying to build consistently defending. Me and him take pride in defending hard, and he's a really competitive, intense guy. So we like to feed off each other, and anytime we get a chance to match up, we're going to take a lot of pride in that. And whether it was their line tonight or going forward, he's a fun guy to play with, and you can defend hard with something like that.
I like these two.
All right. Yeah, I like
Go
ahead. Yep.
No, I like these two together. I think that, and Connor Murphy is like, he's calm. He's a presence. He knows how to play. And these two, I think that Connor Murphy is bringing out some nasty in Darnell Nurse. And I like that. I think that's when Darnell and Rob Brown have said this a million times. He has swagger. He's hard on it. He thinks he's the toughest guy in the ice, which he is probably. So I think it's a really good thing that he brings out in that relationship with Darnell Nurse.
Okay, I'm going to zip inside. Zuby, hold off Brownie until the next segment. You and Struds get through the YouTube poll and maybe the play of the day, and then the three of us will reconvene next segment.
Okay, let's do it.
I think he means storyline, but
yeah, I hear you. I know. We hold his hand,
yes,
right?
yes.
We hold his hand. We got him. We got him. Okay, let's get to Zuby's YouTube poll, brought to you by DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center. Even with the snow on the ground, golf season has started at DeBoer's. Now booking custom golf fitting or club fitting with all the manufacturers. Trust in Scott, TJ, and the team of world-class fitting professionals to take your equipment and game to the next level. Schedule your fitting appointment at DeBoersGolf.com. Zuby, what do you got for us, bud?
All right. We're maybe going to have a little fun here. A little bit of fun squeezed into this poll. The poll tonight is there a silver lining tonight? And the options are that the division teams also lost today. The second choice is that the team showed some grit and toughness. This third choice I have to walk people through. Zuby's in first and Schauger's in last in the Struddy's World Bracket Challenge.
Oh,
so wow. That's the third possibility of if you wish. It's still early, second round here going on, but it's a pretty sizable gap. And the fourth choice is nope, no silver lining, just another bad loss. And I think that might be your winner, but we'll see.
Yeah, you know what? It's just every time I feel like this team's going to get some traction, it just doesn't quite get there, right? When Thursday going into that game against Florida Panthers, okay, Yeah, they don't have Leon. They played a pretty good game the game before and just couldn't quite get it going. And then same thing tonight. They weren't terrible, but you're like, there's a little more there. What more can we do to find a win here? So now they head out, and honestly, I could see them beating Utah in Vegas. Like, that's just how this team goes. They tease you, right?
Yeah.
They're just a tease. It's like, is it there? Is it not there? So I'd probably go with D in this situation, although I love hearing that Rishaug last in the basketball pool.
Now, he didn't claim to be any kind of expert or anything like that.
Yeah.
I told him it was mandatory for him to take
like
part.
that.
So we appreciate it. But yeah, it is. They're a frustrating team to watch. And I thought with the outpouring of emotion and the feistiness and that I was very entertained in that second period. And it felt like, this is what we expect to see from them. And there was the little push and the 5-on-3 and a post or whatever there was, and then the shorty, and that felt like the end, even though it wasn't quite, but what a huge swing in momentum.
Yeah, no, it's unreal. It's unreal. They're so close, but they're just not there. They can't take that last step, it feels like. Okay, let's take a look at the storyline for today, brought to you by Play Alberta. If you want access to odds boosts on every Oilers game all season long, Play Alberta, they got you covered. From major winners every hour to hundreds of popular games and jackpots worth millions to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to join the fun. Download the all-in-one Play Alberta app today to find out if you're Alberta's next winner. Must be 18 plus to play. Remember to use your game sense. Subi, what did you present to our
tough one.
today?
We had a power play point for Evan Bouchard and 24 or more saves for Connor Ingram. So that was double X's there. That looked. What did you think of Ingram's game? That looked like that part of it was in the bag about halfway through. He had, I think, 15 saves midway point of the game, and so I thought that was in the bag. But what did you think of Connor Ingram's game? I don't think he factored strongly either way tonight.
Yeah, well, you had two Kucherov breakaways. Essentially, he was by himself on the one, and then the breakaway. I mean, those are two unreal plays in there. The other one's kind of a bouncing puck, follow the bouncing puck. So that's 3. Then you got the empty netter. So what's the other one I'm missing? Was it a power play goal? You're not really, is it on him? I guess. But, people say, well, once again, the Oilers had the second best goalie. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes, I could have told you that a year ago, that's where it's at with that guy, Vasilevsky's in the pipe. So I don't know. I don't put this on I don't lay this at the goaltender's feet tonight.
No, neither do I. The breakaway, the shorthanded breakaway. That's a thing of beauty because even he doesn't. It's not that he completely beats him. Ingram doesn't go too far. He plays it quite well. It's just that then Kucherov pulls it back and launches it in that space between the pad and the blocker, I believe is where it went in. And you can't do much more as the goalie. In that instance, he never overplayed it. He didn't overslide. He didn't lose the net at all. He actually played it really well. And that's just like a top tier finish. So my cap is tipped to him on that one.
Yeah. We're like, I think you can give him a pass on that. Ingram, that is.
Yes.
Okay, let's take a pause here. Zoop, when we come back, we'll have everyone. Rishaug will be back. Rob Brown, myself, and Zuby. So stay with us. Lots more to come here after this Oilers 5-2 loss at home to the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Riverside Motorsports is your ultimate multi-brand dealer. With a massive lineup of motorcycles, ATVs, side-by-sides, snow bikes, e-bikes, and snowmobiles, all under one roof. With Alberta's best selection, a huge parts and accessories inventory, and a fully certified service department, Riverside has everything you need to ride. Family-owned and serving Edmonton for over 55 years, see what they have to offer in-store just off St. Albert Trail or online at riversidemotorsports.com.
At Modern Measure, every item of clothing starts from scratch and is designed from the ground up based on both your style preferences and current fashion trends. Their clothing is fully designed to give you the exact look you're looking for down to the smallest details and customization. The Modern team will work with you to make sure that you not only look and feel great, but make the most of your investment. On the ground floor of Edmonton Tower downtown, Modern Measure. All right, welcome back to the show. Time now for takeaways brought to you by Chandos Construction. Chandos is hiring right now across the trades, project management, and estimating. As a 100% employee-owned company, they offer steady work and real opportunity to grow with the team. Check out all the open roles available at chandos.com/apply. That's chandos.com/apply. All right, Rob Brown checking in after I'm sure it was a very calm night on the phone lines over in the 880 Ched post-game show. Brownie, what do you think, buddy? What was the story of the game tonight for you?
Well, there's one sequence where the Oilers have a 5-on-3 power play. They had a couple good looks. Bouchard rang an absolute bomb off the crossbar. They didn't score, and then the power play looked a little frustrating. And Connor tried going 1-on-3. It didn't work out. He loses the puck, and then, and I'm going to have it in brownie points. I mean, you can't give up that shorthanded breakaway. You just can't. There's no reason for it. And that was the game. So when the Oilers got the 5-on-3 for an extended period, I'm thinking they have a chance not only to tie it, but to take the lead. And instead, Tampa extends the lead. And at that point, Tampa's too good. You can't chase the Lightning. They're too good a hockey club, and that was the end of the hockey game for the Oilers.
Yeah, that sequence was huge. You know, there's always just that time in the game where you're just got to get it, find a way to get it done. But I mean, Kucherov to me was a story, Brownie. This guy, not a wild first period for him, but those two times, like the breakaway and then the second goal, he's in front of the net. Like he caught and shot it so quick. I'm like, did that go off somebody? Like, and there's no one around him, not one guy around him in that moment.
Well, that's funny. I mean, he is the best player in the league right now. Like he's had 12 points his last 3 games. Like he is that good right now. And he gets the breakaway. He's behind everybody. How do you not know where Kucherov is? And then you're right, on the goal, that's not an easy catch and release. Like that's a tough catch and release. And and like in zero time to get set. And if you watch, Kucherov shot the puck both times, same spot in the old 7-hole.
Yeah.
He found the spot on Ingram. But how is Kucherov wide open there? He is the best. He is their best player, hottest player in the NHL, and twice standing by himself. Actually, a third time he had a chance for the hat trick and missed on the one-timer. But he was the difference. And I'll go through that in my brownie points because these are the stuff that I touched on. But to me, Kucherov is like one of my favorite players I ever love watching is Pavel Datsyuk. They're the same player that everything is so subtle about their game, but every play they make is with a purpose. The way they deflect the puck, the way they move the puck to someone else, how they slow the game down, how they find their line mates. He is the new reincarnation of Pavel Datsyuk, who's one of the greatest that ever played. Right now, to me, the favorite for the MVP is Nikita Kucherov on the season he's having in my eyes.
What did you make of, they dominated when McDavid was on the ice. Like, the head-to-head matchup didn't really even feel like it was very close tonight, Brownie. I'm just grabbing the numbers here right now. So when McDavid was on the ice at even strength and Nikita Kucherov was on the ice at even strength, the shot attempts were 17-3 Tampa. Shots on net were 12-2 Tampa when McDavid and Kucherov were on the ice at even strength. McDavid has so many brilliant nights, but this definitely was not one of them, Brownie.
No, it wasn't. And I do talk about it in brownie points, but before the game started, and you mentioned it, the Oilers rejigged all their lines again. I do like these lines better. I think these are the lines they need for playoffs. You just take out Szymanski and put in Leon with Roslovic and Savoy. But they put together the line that we talked about earlier, a big, fast, physical third line that you could match up against the other team's best players. And that was supposedly the plan for tonight. Dickinson, Kapanen, Podkolzin going head-to-head against Kucherov. And when they were out there against Kucherov, they did a good job. It was when they were off the ice, and it was the McDavid line going head-to-head that the Oilers had the problem. So to me, that is on the Oilers' best players, but also that is on the Oilers coaching staff. You had a plan in place to put a checking line against the hottest player in the NHL, not just for a week. He's been the hottest player in the NHL since November.
Yeah.
So you had a plan in place that you went away from. And to me, as you said, Schauger, that was the game. Kucherov they were better than the McDavid line, and the Oilers aren't deep enough right now without Leon to be able to overcome that.
I like the way you phrase that because, I mean, you have to trust your guys to go and do their job, right? Give Dickinson a chance, and a long chance to do it. And I think that my feeling was that when you brought Dickinson in, he would be, and I believe Stan Bowman said that in his availability, that he would be a matchup issue for other teams that would free up Connor and Leon to do other things. And tonight, Kucherov's line had it going. Now, they missed some guys as they were, going off and whatever when they were maybe nicked up or injured. But I just would have liked to see just give the guys a role. Say, you're going to be matched up hard on these guys tonight or as hard as we can with it making sense.
Yeah. Brownie, what did you make of McDavid's post-game comments about the Lightning, their staff, perfectly coached? Definitely those were notable comments.
Well, there's two sides of it. The first side, don't want any controversy. This morning, John Cooper talked glowingly about Connor McDavid. Talked about what a great leader is, what a great player he is, what kind of person he is. Talked about if the Tampa Bay Lightning don't win a Stanley Cup this year, he wants to see McDavid win a Stanley Cup. He feels he deserves a Stanley Cup. So McDavid would have heard all of those comments. So to me, it's like, okay, Cooper said these things about McDavid. McDavid, I'm going to, here you go, I'm going to say it back. The other side, and this is what I'm sure people are saying, we had a couple people text and phone our show tonight. You throw what McDavid said tonight about how well coached the other team was, and then you toss in what Leon said just before the Olympics, and now your two-star players have talked about coaching. Now, I don't know if I can't get into Connor's head or Leon's head, nor would I want to. But if you want to be the conspiratist, the two superstars have both mentioned stuff about coaching in interviews in the last, 12 games? So, yeah, you take notice. I think that's the biggest thing. It might mean nothing, Schauger, but you take notice.
Yep. I think that's well said. I think that's all fair. Okay. Well, you've been talking a lot about them, so I want to hear them now. So I think we should just go ahead and get to them brownie points that you've been talking so much about here, Brownie. You got us all set up for it. So let's do it. It is brought to you by the Alberta Ram Dealers. The 4x4 winter event continues at your Alberta Ram dealer. Get a 2026 Ram 1500 Black Express starting from $56,995. See your Ram dealer today.
Give me those brownie points.
All right, Brownie.
Well, here we go. I got -2 brownie points to Evan Bouchard, who for the second game in a row got caught watching a puck in the offensive zone and had an opponent sneak behind him for a breakaway. Bouchard has been on an absolute offensive heater for a few months now, but he has to be cognizant of who's behind him at all times. Back-to-back games, the opposition have got breakaways because he's been puck watching. Both times they scored, and tonight it was Kucherov. It was the best player on the ice, and he snuck in behind Bouchard. He's got to be aware of that. I got -29 brownie points to the Oilers' power play that continues to struggle without Leon in the lineup. For the 5-on-3 power play for 90 seconds, the Oilers hit a crossbar early. Then they got a little frustrated that had McDavid trying to go 1-on-3, gets knocked off the puck, leading to the Kucherov shorthanded breakaway. Instead of tying the game or even going ahead with 2 power play goals, the Oilers gave up a shorty to fall behind by 2, and really that was the end of the hockey game for the Edmonton Oilers. I got 86 brownie points to the Tampa Bay Lightning, Nikita Kucherov, who right now is the hottest player in the NHL. With 4 points tonight, He now leads the National Hockey League. He has 104 points in his last 51 games. He has 12 points in his last 3 games. Tonight, the Lightning's top line had 8 points and was +8. The Oilers' top line had 1 point and was -9. Not often do the Oilers' top line lose the battles of superstars, but if they do and they don't have Leon in their lineup, the outcome will not go their way. I got 360 brownie points to the Oilers' response tonight after they hit from behind on Bouchard. There was the immediate response from McDavid and his line mate. There was also a great response from Connor Murphy and Vasily Podkolzin. The energy and the emotional level tonight was a 360 from the last game versus the Florida Panthers. And finally, I got 88 brownie points to Tampa Bay Lightning's Andrei Vasilevsky, who was outstanding tonight. The future Hall of Famer let in an incredibly weird and odd goal tonight, but it didn't matter because he stopped almost everything else. Both teams had breakdowns in this game. Both teams had defensive lapses, but Vasilevsky was able to clean up his team's mistakes. Vasilevsky is the biggest reason that the Lightning would be the favorite coming out of the East and moving on to the Stanley Cup Final. And those tonight are my brownie points.
It's interesting, Brownie. You talk about that, the Bouchard and not knowing what's going on. Now, I think has to be an internal clock. I wasn't on the power play a lot. I'm not going to lie to you, but I had an internal clock as far as going to the end of the periods or on the penalty kill, kind of had a sense of when someone might be coming out of the box or something might be coming up. The other part of it, though, is you have to have help from your bench. I mean, he was pretty close to the bench when that took place, not right beside it, but close enough that someone could yell. A goalie could tap his stick and let him know that they're running low. And it's still on him, but you can help your buddy out. Now, I'm not saying no one didn't help him out or maybe he wasn't aware of it, he didn't hear it. But there are, that internal clock, his just knowing that this time's coming up and help from the bench that should prevent those types of goals against, especially when you know who's coming out of there. If that's Jason Strudwick coming out, give him the breakaway. We don't care. Our goalie will get it back and pass it up the ice. But it's Kucherov, man. You got to know who's behind you or who's coming off.
The team would have told him, and so would the goalie. And Kucherov didn't. It wasn't as though the breakaway pass went to Kucherov by the penalty box. Kucherov skated all the way across the ice, like he was going to change.
Yeah.
And we got the puck. Okay, hit me with the breakaway pass. That was my guess, and I don't know. My guess is Bouchard maybe took a glance. Oh, Kucherov's changing, and just continued to watch the play. It doesn't matter. You need to know. The puck got iced all the way down to Connor Ingram, because Ingram was the one that moved the puck up. When that puck gets down, right away, every guy on the power play would have looked up at the clock to see how much time was left. Because that tells you what we can do on the rush, when he's coming out of the box, how much time we have left, do we need to change. So this is 100% on Bouchard, just like it was last game. I mean, this is back-to-back games, exact same play. You cannot let a player get behind you, and even more so when it's Nikita Kucherov. So that one's on Bouchard. And another thing I want to throw out too. This wasn't in my brownie point. Another thing that the Oilers need to get out of their game, and it's on Jake Wallman. Wallman, last couple years, when Nurse gets himself into trouble, when he tries to do too much holding on to the puck. Jake Wallman now has this habit of coming from behind his net, cutting quickly right in front of his own net, trying to beat the guy. But he's losing the puck. Or he gets to a point where now he knows he's going to lose it, and he just throws it away. Tonight, 3 times he threw the puck away. They got picked off in his own zone. And 1 time, they knocked it off his stick, and Ingram had to make a save. That's got to get out of Wallman's game. That's creating too many more problems. Simple play, you got nothing, throw it off the glass. I think Wallman's putting himself in bad positions by trying to make something that's not there.
Yep, I think that's a great point. We're seeing that from him. He's got to tidy up some details in his game, man, because it's been up and down and all over the place with Wallman, the turnovers, the inconsistency. They need this guy to find his form heading into the playoffs. The good news is the Pacific. Like McDavid called it a pillow fight. I almost laughed in the scrum when he said that. It was it's a pillow fight. Like nobody wants to make up any ground here. Nobody wants to get anything done. It's been pretty brutal. Let's crunch the numbers. Oh, you didn't do that before, did you, Struddy?
Nope.
Well, let's get to it. Brought to you by McDonald's. NHL Star Sticks are back at McDonald's. Start your collection and get one of 7 mini Star Sticks with every NHL Star Sticks meal. Featuring hot shots like McDavid, Matthews, Hughes, Makar, Celebrini, Reinhart, and Montembeault. Shoot for the whole set while they last. For a limited time only at participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada. Okay, Struds, what did Sport Logic say about the night?
Kind of a mixed bag here. Obviously, the Oilers 5-2, but let's take a look at a couple things. I'll start with the puck in the O zone. The Tampa Bay Lightning had 5 more minutes than the Oilers. They were spent quite a bit of time in the Oilers zone. But all that being said, the Oilers only allowed 6 slot shots from Tampa, and the Oilers got 8. So they had their chances. And their scoring chances off the rush, something we've heard Knobloch talk about wanting to improve against. They only had 1 scoring chance off the rush to Tampa. The Oilers had 4. So those numbers suggest, okay, the Oilers were pretty good in those situations. The one that is the opposite of that is puck battle win percentage. They had 56% for Tampa, and obviously that leaves 44 for the Edmonton Oilers. So even though the Oilers were in their own zone for a while, they didn't give up a lot off the rush as well in those moments.
Yeah, I think the game, and I don't know if you guys agree, I thought the Oilers played well. I thought this was a good game by both teams. It came down to 2 main things. The Oilers 5-on-3, they gave up the shorthanded goal, and Vasilevsky was better than Ingram. And that's not anything to bat at Ingram, but Vasilevsky he might win the Vezina this year. He's that good a goalie. And tonight he made the big saves when he needed to. So to me, that was the difference in the hockey game. For the most part, though, I thought the Oilers played well, and there was an emotional engagement in this game. But they just played a really good team. Tampa is good.
So the last number I'll throw forward for you here in crunching the numbers is Hyman, McDavid, and Nugent Hopkins together at even strength. 5-on-5 played 14-43, and the shots were 14-5 Tampa in that time. The shot attempts were 24-14. For a third straight game, they changed the top line, and I mean, they just get caved in. Like it just didn't work. They went back to something that, you know, they're familiar with, but it just did not work. And while I agree some other things in the lineup look good, is there anything more important than making sure you figure out the right fit for the line that's going to be on the ice the most? And they've changed it 3 times in 3 games here, Brownie.
Yeah, but Florida, they weren't good, their first line. So I can see why they changed it for this game. To me, the lines they had tonight are the right lines when Leon's in the lineup. I think I like Leon between Roslovic and Savoy. I like that. And I like the big checking line. I just want them to use them to check. At the bottom line, McDavid's line has to be better. I mean, they should be better. Hyman has been on a heater for he's got the most goals, or he did up until a game or 2 ago, since he's come back from injury. But tonight, and it was on all 3 of them. I don't think there's one player on that line you can say, okay, he was good, but the rest of the team wasn't, or the rest of the line wasn't. All 3 of them struggled. They all turned the puck over a number of times. They weren't good defensively in their own zone. So I would imagine, I think they'll stay with those lines the same next game. But I can see your point, though, Schauger. The McDavid, Nugent Hopkins, Hyman line has not been anywhere near as good as it can be or needs to be. And right now, without Leon Draisaitl in their lineup, whoever plays with Connor McDavid, that line has to be dominant. And it hasn't in back-to-back games.
Yeah, Struds, I don't know, man. I thought Savoy looked good with McDavid that last game.
Yeah.
Like, I know it wasn't the right result, but he was buzzing. There were multiple chances in and around the net. The 2 of them seemed to be clicking. Yeah, you want him to shoot. I get it. Couple of spots where he needed to shoot. Do you know how many Oilers do that on a regular basis? So I don't know. I felt like that was not a massive step backwards for Savoy in that last game. And I'm just not sure why he won't let this thing breathe a little bit.
Yeah, no, he's been moving the lines around a lot. And you know, I had no problem with Savoy there. I think that's fine. Here's what I'm seeing, though. I feel like right now Connor is put everything on his shoulders. Brownie, you made the comment earlier that I really liked. You said that, it was a power play and he's trying to beat, 2 or 3 guys. And yeah, he gets her in there and he kind of creates something like the one where he kind of got all the way in there, went around the net and threw it to Ekholm, and Ekholm just missed on a shot. Like, it's a really good chance, but I almost think, and I get he's the best player in the world, but I think he's trying to do too much. Just so much pressure. And I get, you're a captain. You want to get to the playoffs. You want to win a Stanley. I get all that. But I think somehow someone, a coach, a team member, a friend, his mailman, whatever, has to offload some of that pressure off this guy. Because I think that'll free him up, Brownie, because I do feel like he's just carrying the puck so much. And I'd be interested to know his times, like compared, let's go from this year to last year, the year before, puck on his stick. And I know it's could be a little bit misleading, but I feel like he's just trying to do so much right now. And in some ways, maybe it's hurting his game, Brownie.
Yep. And most great players or most best players on teams do that. When things aren't going right, they try to do more. And unfortunately, a lot of the time, it gets you into more trouble. How many times did he turn the puck over today trying to create something, trying to make a long pass, backhand pass, cross ice pass in the offensive zone? They were getting picked off and going the other way. There's teams are more apt to be aggressive on him now because there's no Leon. So yeah, like every chance, throw 2 guys at him, because pass it to Hyman, pass it to Boucher, pass it to Nugent Hopkins. We'd rather they have the puck. So I think he's trying too hard, and it's really noticeable on the power play. And Rishaug, I got no problem with Savoy going back on the first line. I don't. I would keep Hyman there. Where I would move Savoy, I would take him off the power play. They need a shooter on the power play. They do that. To me, they need someone who thinks shot first. Roslovic will. As far as putting Savoy on the first line, I got no problem with that. And Savoy has been very consistent wherever he's been, and he does buzz. So, to me though, is the one line I want staying together is the Dickinson line. That's a line. That's a playoff line, but they have to use them like a playoff line. And if it means if they put Kucherov out there and all of a sudden you got Connor out there, then you pull Connor's line off. Like it might not look good, but if you've got a plan, stick to the plan. Because when you get away from your game plan, that's when chaos comes in. And tonight, chaos was every time Connor was out against Kucherov, it was chaos defensively for the Oilers.
When you say the Dickinson line, you mean with Nugent Roslovic when they had that group together?
Nope. I want Dickinson, Puck, Colson, and Captain. I want a true checking line. Roslovic is not a checker. He is not a checker. There will be turnovers. But those 3 guys tonight, that has to be your checking line.
Yeah. Excuse me. All right, great stuff. That was Crunching the Numbers, brought to you by our friends over at McDonald's. Going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to take a lap. A few things going on around the league that I want Brownie to have a chance to chime in on. And then we got Struddy's World. Ask us anything as well, so get your comments in on the stream. Lots more ahead here on Got Your Back, presented by Timberhouse Developments.
Why would you? Nobody puts in wood windows or siding anymore, so why put in wood fences? Maintenance-free vinyl fence from DLR is backed by a lifetime warranty and will save you time. Weekends are for playing, not painting. Go vinyl at dlrvinylproducts.ca.
Mainline Water and Sewer specializes in sewer line repair and replacement using advanced trenchless methods for fast, clean results. They provide detailed sewer assessments and scoping to identify problems before they become costly. Serving both residential and commercial properties, no job is too big or too small, and with over 40 years of experience, they've seen it all. Trust Mainline to keep your lines flowing smoothly.
All right, let's take a couple of laps, shall we? Brought to you by Riverside Moto Sports, family owned and operated, serving Edmonton and area for over 55 years. Featuring top brands and delivering the best selection in Alberta, a huge inventory of parts and accessories, and recognized as the #1 KTM dealership in the country. Check them out online, www.riversidemotorsports.com. Okay, Struds, let's get to it, buddy.
All right. Dangerous play the other night. AJ Greer shoved Connor Zary from behind from a good distance away. Zary was injured in the play, and he only has a phone call. No in person. Doesn't have to fly to Toronto to get a look at this bad boy. I'm pretty surprised. I mean, I do not like hitting from behind. This is an intentional play. There's a real, I think, desire to injure this player, and it was a needless play. So, even if he gets 5 games, I guess, I mean, that's quite a bit. That being said, I think AJ Greer lives up to his handle, and he does a good job of this, and he's going to get paid this summer. Team won't care, but I do. I just hate hits from behind, and it doesn't feel like it's enough. It's at 4 or 5 games, boys.
I agree with you, Struds. I was surprised as well. So Radek Gudas got 5 minutes for a kneeing, and he deserved all of those 5. Maybe deserved more, but he deserved it. But Gudas's hit was an instinctive hit. It wasn't the guy's coming, he beats you, and he stuck his knee out. It's just instincts made him do it. Shouldn't have done it. He should get that out of his instinctive move, but it wasn't. It was like a split second, and the knee went out. The one that happened with Greer the other night, he saw the guy's back. He knew where he was. He was skating at him. That, to me, was intentional. Like, that wasn't, he just was there. He instinctively just pushed him from behind head first into the boards. He had time to think about it. So, to me, that is way worse. And as much as it sucks for Matthews, and a knee injury is awful, but a knee injury you can't come back from a broken neck. So, to me, this was worse than the Gudas hit. To me, this had to be more than 5 games. I agree 100%, Schauger, with Struddy that this should have been an in-person type of interview, and the suspension should have been over 5 games.
Yeah, I think there are times on the ice, where you've got somebody in a vulnerable position. And I think you guys as NHL players out there, you got to trust each other to a degree out there, that you're not going to do anything aggressively dangerous to put each other in serious harm, right? You're going to be hard on each other, but I think there's a certain amount of trust among gentlemen out there. You're not going to take someone that's vulnerable and do that. To me, it was just an awful play. It's the most dangerous play in the game. He had a player vulnerable, and he tried to shove him from behind as hard as he could to throw him face first into the boards. That should be 7-10 games minimum, send a message. But this league has never done a good enough job. They've never taken hitting from behind seriously enough. And this is another indication of that. That's the most dangerous play in hockey.
So 2 things. The league includes the players. The players, they if they want change, they can advocate for change, right? And they haven't. So I include, in my mind, they're as guilty as the league. And I know the league does include the owners and GMs and all, because it's the players. Remember when they wanted out, Mario and those guys wanted the clutch and grabbing out? Brendan Shand led a group, and they changed it. They changed the rules that we're still living with today. Next up, Anthony Stolarz, goaltending guru for the Leafs, gets hit by a high shot in warm-up by his friend Nylander, and leaves look like a collarbone. Now, guys, it happens. You hate seeing your goalie get hurt in warm-up. But Stolarz went to the hospital, and that, to me, caught my eyes. I'm like, why is he going to the hospital? There's medical staff all over the place at the Leafs rink, in the staff they have to look after it. So I don't know, I guess it could be. I didn't see an update, Schauger, on this, anything more than just this update. But to go to the hospital, that was a real.
Was it in the neck area?
It did. It looked like it was collarbone-ish. Left collarbone, Brownie. I don't know if you saw anything else.
The problem is, in case there's swelling, and all of a sudden the swelling in the throat, it makes it hard to breathe. So that's my guess, is there's a worry that may have swelled up in there, and you don't want to take that chance. 2 things on it. Unwritten rule, you do not shoot high on your starting goalie. Ever. you ever. Seriously, never. On the backup goalie, yeah, ladies' tees bar down every time, but you don't shoot high. And 2, wasn't it Nylander that Stolarz called out earlier this year?
Yeah.
I never even thought of that. Oh, Brownie. That's why you're on this show. That's such a great point by you. Oh, yeah, that's a nasty one. By the way, the Sens fans were just relentless on the Leafs tonight, too. They had a chant going during that game. You need Marner. It was pretty classic. Anyway, is that it? Strudge, you got
That's
one more
it.
quick
That's
one.
it. No,
That's
we're
it.
good.
We're
That's
wrapping it
fine.
up
Yeah,
there. All right.
yeah,
Let's
we're
wrap
good.
that
We're
bad boy up right there. Okay. Well, time for Struddy's World. Let's roll it, Zuby.
When you make a mistake, heads should roll. It's not right. And I'm here. Someone has to put their foot down. Now that I say it out loud, it does sound a little crazy. God, I look good.
Struddy's World brought to you by Body Realty at Royal LePage, AR Team Realty. Buying a home's a big decision, and the team at Body Realty will guide you through the complex process with expertise and care, providing unwavering support. Even after the keys are handed over, visit bodyrealty.com. That's BHATTI realty.com. Who were you rude to today, Struds?
No, I didn't. Yeah, someone actually told me the other day, you should never meet your heroes. I'm like, what are you talking about? I snubbed one guy because it's cold out. My hands are freezing, man. My hands are freezing. Anyways, no, this isn't about a snubbing. I haven't snubbed anyone in 24 hours, but it is about Connor McDavid and going after the Tampa Bay players. And a scrum. Bouchard gets hit really hard. And, there's kind of a weird scrum. Like, it took a long time to get going. It's like a bunch of people at a junior high dance. No one really knows what the hell is going on. But eventually it kind of hits the high note. And Connor ends up getting into it. And, the player drops his gloves on the other side. And Connor doesn't. And it doesn't expect him to. What I believe is important is that I believe Connor is saying to his teammates, we're not going to let this happen anymore. Right? We're going to start standing up for ourselves and each other when things like this happen. Sometimes the captain has to do that. Sometimes the shepherd has to defend his flock and or kind of, fight for his flock. Now, I don't need Connor fighting, but I like the response he used to tell everyone this is what we do. So it's clear, because if I'm doing it, you all should do it. Saw it moments later. Connor Murphy, the perfect guy to fight him. Nurse runs him as well. And we saw even a little bit later, Podkolzin and a Nurse run. Who was it that he ran? Hagel. And Hagel. I loved all that. And I believe this is the captain being a leader. And that's what he has to do sometimes. You don't want him fighting. I get that. But doesn't mean you can't rest a little bit and kind of let the guys know, hey, time to wake up and get this going.
Nope, you're right. That was right. It set the tone. I mean, he did it in Dallas as well. I mean, he's not afraid to get involved. He does it all the time, though. How many times have you seen where he goes in around the net and he grabs someone around the neck from behind? McDavid is strong. Like, I don't know if he can fight, and we hope we never have to find out. But he is strong, and when he grabs you from behind, you're not moving. So I thought there was an emotional attachment in this game tonight. And I think part of it was being called out after the Florida game, and part of it was a borderline dirty hit that they responded to. So, yeah, Connor McDavid, he leads by example with his work ethic, with the way he shows up daily. So, not a surprise.
Can you maybe put it into perspective, Struds? Because I watched really closely after that happened. And there were a couple of players that clearly felt like something needs to be done here. But I don't think they were sure who to go after. Like, let's say you're Matthias Ekholm, right? Matthias Ekholm was back on the play. And he looked up. He knew something was going on. So he skated up ice. But he was looking around like you don't always know exactly who it is. You don't always know. And I think McDavid did know who it was. He tried to get at the guy. And I think once Ekholm saw who McDavid was trying to get at, Ekholm now knows, okay, it's this guy. But we watch from the stands. We watch from the press box. Yeah. It's like, go get that. That's the guy. I feel like the players on the ice don't always know where they're supposed, like, who are we going at here?
I don't know what they did or didn't see, but what I'd say is that Bouchard had the puck on his stick when he got hit from behind in that moment. So I think that you'd have a pretty good sense of what happened because it's a one's away from the play. So let's say this. Let's say there wasn't a hit in that moment, and the puck is thrown at the boards, and we're all turning around and go get it. And then someone absolutely two-hand tomahawk chops Bouchard. Now you don't see it. And I've had those happen. And you're like, what the hell just happened? You have no idea. And fans are going crazy, and Bouchard's lying on the ice, and you're like looking for anyone to murder, right? But I think this one, because of where it was, Brownie, I think that everyone would have, again, I'm not saying for sure, but it was a play on the player with the puck.
It was, but you remember, when Bouchard has the puck, you're thinking he's going to make a play. So a guy going up ice could turn his head. And then all of a sudden, and Holmberg, the guy that did it, is not a player who is real noticeable. It's not like if it was Tom Wilson, and Tom Wilson is anywhere near the vicinity, he's the one that did it. So to me, Holmberg is not a household name. It's not a guy that when he's on the ice, you can tell by his skating, you can tell by the way his hair flows that, okay, that's who it was. So I could see them not knowing for sure who it was at the moment. I mean, a great example is Cirelli went in and got Podkolzin. The flying elbow was by Nurse, but Cirelli grabbed Podkolzin instead, thinking it was him that was the one that inflicted the most pain.
That might have been the wrong door for him to pick.
I know. Yeah. I give Cirelli credit again. I mean, he had one of two choices. Both were not good ones for him. I was surprised he came back into the game too. He was gone for quite a while, but sometimes it's hard just on the ice because the game is where we watch the game, Schauger, it is so slow.
Yeah,
we can see everything happen. But it's easy. Oh yeah, that's why we know how everything should be played, because we see it from up there. But on the ice, everything is fast, and all of a sudden, it's funny. You're looking around, and Struds would be looking. If he and I were in the same lineup, and one of our guys got hurt, Struds would be looking, who's the guy that did it? I'd be looking, who's the smallest guy out here? So we both have different objectives.
Brownie's got somebody's back, but it'll be selective.
Yeah.
That was Struddy's World, brought to you by Batty Realty. Along the lines of you snubbing people for high five, Struds, I was at my nephew Sam's hockey game the other night, and this guy says hello. And he goes, I hear you're giving out hugs. Because if you remember, I said, hey, look, if I see you in the next couple of days, you want a hug? I'll give you a hug on the show.
Yeah.
He goes, hey, I hear you're giving out hugs. I go, yeah, you bet, man. Yeah, you want to collect? He's like, no, man, I don't. I don't mind the pod, but I'm not hugging you. Totally shut me down. Completely shut me down. I was going in for the hug, and he shut me right down.
That makes me so happy.
I bet it does. Serves me right. All right, Brownie. Thanks, pal. We'll chat with you in a couple of days, my friend.
Sounds good. Take care, guys.
All right. That is Robbie Brown. All right. Before we go to our final break, let's get to our scoreboard, brought to you by the Bridge Fit. Being an Oiler fan takes a toll. The stress, the highs, the heartbreak, your body feels all of it. Bringing one team of physio, chiro, massage, and strength coaches together to focus on active rehab and relieving pain while building strength and resilience for long-term movement. They got 5 locations across Alberta. Visit thebridge.fit to book your session.
11 games today and a ton that affected the Oilers. Unfortunately, none in a bad way. The Preds got 2 goals from Stamkos to beat the Vegas Golden Knights 4-1. Predators had 20 shots, Golden Knights 40. Do you think they have goalie problems in Vegas? I don't think I have to answer that question. The Sharks took it off the chin from the Flyers at home, 4-1. Flyers struck early. Orlov got another goal. He's really on fire. That's 3 goals on the season for Orlov in the loss for the Sharks. Blue Jackets keep rolling. They take down the Kraken. Important for the Oilers in this one. Pretty interesting when you look at it. Mathieu Olivier got his 14th goal of the year. Toughest guy in the league, and probably going to end up with north of 15 goals on the year. And then finally, one last one here. The Canadians beat the Islanders 7-3. That was a big game for them. Slavkovsky had a goal in that one. He is playing really well, as well as Caulfield got his 41st, and Matthew Schaefer his 22nd. Shaggy?
How about when you went with Relentless Player tonight, I wondered if you might go to a different game and go with Cole Caulfield.
Yeah.
He ended up with, where is it here? I just want to get it right. So he played 16 minutes. 16 minutes, and he had 3 goals and 2 assists. He had 5 points tonight, Struds, in that win against the Islanders.
Yeah, he's really getting it done, isn't he? And he's creeping up there. I think his 43rd goal of the year he had. It's obviously 41, 42, 43. He's 2 goals behind McKinnon. This is who he's around. Kucherov, McDavid, Robertson, Kirill Kaprizov, and his teammate Matt Boldy. Like, pretty incredible that he's second. He could get to 50. Probably will.
Pretty impressive. By the way, I think McDavid hit your prediction tonight, didn't he? Was it 38?
I got it right here.
Yeah.
I think
it was 38.
That's what it was. Yeah.
And you know what, Struds? I'm not even poking fun at you here, because the truth is you've got a way better chance of being more right than I was in predicting his goals. Here we are, into the halfway through March, and he's just hitting that 38 mark. I'd have thought he'd been a little further along by now.
Yeah, I think I'm off though for points. I had 120 points for him, and he is at 115, 116. Okay. So it's going to be difficult. Hopefully he hopefully he blows mine away.
All right, Zuby, we got one more break, right? I didn't forget.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, one more break. When we come back, we'll get to our core adjustments and ask us anything. So make sure you get your questions to us here on the stream. We will be right back.
For over 60 years, Belvedere Golf and Country Club has delivered a high-quality membership experience to Edmonton and area. And now it's even better. Drainage and irrigation improvements in 2024 have taken course conditions to a new level. This commitment to long-term sustainability means exceptional playing conditions all season long. Belvedere's tee sheet availability is unmatched, so join now and experience golf the way it was meant to be played, on your schedule. Visit belvederegcc.com today.
So at Timberhouse, our guiding philosophy is naturally inspired living. We believe that through design, we can solve problems and enhance people's lives. We follow biophilic design principles in all of our builds to incorporate natural materials, natural light, to enhance all the spaces in a home. When you have your space perfectly reflect who you are and what you value, and it's made well, we think that that just leads to better living.
Getting the McDonald's you love for just $5 plus tax every day? That's not just value. That's McValue. Get $5 McValue meals every day.
Cruising right along here on Got Your Back. It is time to look at some core adjustments brought to you by HSE Core Services. From creating and managing safety programs to audits and those required contractor registries, HSE Core keeps your business compliant so you can keep on working. If you sign up for health and safety program management services, you will receive your first month free. And if you own a business, you know this stuff will come in big time handy. So check them out. Got any questions, anything you need to know, give Tom a call over at HSE Core Services. Check out the website, www.hsecore.com. All right, Struds, the last game for Tristan Jarry was Dallas, so it's been St. Louis, Nashville, San Jose, Florida, Tampa for Connor Ingram. How long can you leave this goaltender on the shelf and expect him to do much anything for you through the stretch here, Struds? I asked Chris Knobloch about this today, and, he said he will be getting in here at some point. He talked about the road trip, so I'm not sure if that means he's going to get one of these next two, but, man, it's been a bit here.
It has been, but, you're going to need him. I keep, you need everyone. Like, to win, you need everyone playing at their best, and Tristan hasn't been there for a little bit here, since the injury, it feels like. So you have the Mammoth and the Golden Knights. I cannot see you playing against the Golden Knights unless you feel like their goaltending has been a bit of a struggle. So do you play him on Tuesday against the Mammoth and then keep Ingram
coming off
for
two
Thursday?
Straight losses here? I mean, I guess, it's not like this was Ingram's best game. I don't think we're hanging the loss on him.
No,
I didn't necessarily love the one. Who stepped out from the side of the net and shot it over his shoulder?
Yeah, that was that Cirelli? I think it was Cirelli, wasn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, point being,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like it was his best game. You wouldn't be crazy to go to the other goalie after this game, but
you just don't know what you have there, right? That's what's scary at the NHL level. Well, quite frankly, every level, but at the NHL, you want to know what you're getting of whatever you do, whatever you are, whatever kind of player you are. I want to know I'm getting it every night, and that's what makes a guy like Bud Colson so valuable. You know exactly what you're getting every night, and you value that. Right now with Tristan Jarry, you're unsure, and that's a scary place to be as a coach, especially when you need these points. So, I guess you look at it. The Mammoth is maybe a non-Pacific Division team, because after that it goes Golden Knights, Ducks, Kraken, Blackhawks, Golden Knights. So maybe that's the one to get him into, because can you hold out to April 2nd and put him in against the Blackhawks if you're worried? Because it's not like the schedule's crazy. You have the day off tomorrow, travel play Tuesday, travel plays Thursday. Like, that's not awful. Then you play Saturday afternoon game. So it's not like a terrible, they don't play till Tuesday again.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're killing your goalie if you go with him.
The schedule, and this is a bit of a playoff format,
Yeah,
game, day off,
it.
and this is kind of what Ingram is going to have to deal with when the playoffs get going. Okay, that was Core Adjustments, brought to you by HSE Core Services. Zuby, hop in here, buddy. Let's wrap up our DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center YouTube poll. How are people feeling?
Yeah, so the question tonight was, is there a silver lining tonight? Now, you have to look at the big picture here, which is that more people chose a silver lining than not. But the runaway number one answer was, nope, just another bad loss, 43%. Division teams also lost, came in second at 27%. Team showed some grit and toughness, 24%. And me being first and Shogger, you being last in the Struddy's World NCAA bracket, only made 6% of people feel better. They saw that as a silver lining. So I was just trying to look for positives in the world.
There you go. I'm sure some appreciate that. You know what? I could care less about that bracket because I think I'm leading in the brownie points after last show.
Wow.
I'm still riding high after that one. Still riding high.
Rightfully so.
Okay, let's get to Ask Us Anything, brought to you by Bernie's Electric Supply. To celebrate their 50th anniversary, BJ Electric is now operating as Bernie's Electric Supply. It's a name change in tribute to their founder, Bernie Joseph Thompson. Their ownership, their structure, their people, their commitment all remains the same. They continue to be your supplier for all things electrical. Visit www.bernieselectric.ca. Just quickly, we didn't talk about the Draisaitl comment from over in Germany today, which kind of had some of the market a little fired up today, Struds. And there was some follow-up reporting that now there isn't a change in the timeline or whatever. But when you look at this, the way this went, Knobloch being a little ambiguous about the timeline, Bowman clarifying, Draisaitl showing up and basically kind of saying, like, I hope they go on a deep enough run that I can help. Like, what? How deep does the run have to be for you to help? You're supposed to be back when the run started. So it's been a little all over the place, the messaging on this one.
Well, the market's jumpy, right? If the Oilers have just rattled off 5 in a row and they had a 3-point lead in the Pacific Division, it'd be a different place. But everyone's really jumpy right now. I was surprised that he was over there. I think I was more surprised by that. But it makes sense that he's going to get treatment, the same doctor that Austin Matthews used. And I know there have been other players I know they've gone over to Europe to do some kind of treatments over the course of their career. But I can only go, the comments made by Leon and then the subsequent reporting, I have to believe that it's still on track, that when the playoffs start, he'll be ready. I'm not an insider. I have no idea, but I can just keep going on what they say. And maybe, again, Leon, maybe just, you don't always understand maybe the impact of your comments. And maybe not being exactly clear when you're speaking. Like he's in Germany speaking.
Yeah. The other thing to keep in mind on Draisaitl, I actually wasn't surprised to see him back in Germany. And the fact that it's treatment makes some sense. But I think people need to remember, I think his family also went through something pretty significant this year. You'll recall he had to return home to Germany, right? And then that's a short trip home. You get back to be with your team. You're off to the Olympics. And now you're not playing for 5 or 6 weeks. It would make sense that if you you take 7 or 8 days to go home and, and be with your family if you've been through something. So I wasn't surprised to see that.
Okay.
All right, Zuby.
Okay, so this is kind of interesting, and I think you alluded to this as well, but Aaron Davies said it really wasn't that bad of a loss. McDavid's reaction to it is the story. And to follow that up, and I have verified this, Lauren the Alchemist adding that the Twitter /X AI headline that shows up like in the sidebar literally says McDavid points to coaching after Oilers 5-2 loss. So it's that has become the story, whether intentionally or unintentionally.
Yep.
But he's got to know to some end that those comments are going to become the story, right, Shogger?
Yeah, for sure. They're people are going to talk about it. Anytime Connor McDavid makes a strong statement in any direction, right? I mean, he made his thoughts very clearly known about player safety last week. Like, he's got a huge platform, and when he talks, hey man, people are going to pay attention. So, we're not going to try and crawl into his head and figure out exactly what he was thinking or exactly what his intentions are. We hear the comments; they're certainly notable. I would say saying McDavid points to coaching in a loss. Like, McDavid never said that he never said they were out coached tonight. He never said that they lost because of coaching. He never pointed to his own coaching staff as a reason why. He was heavily complimentary of the other team's coaching staff, and then did point out that his team is not there yet when it comes to being organized and such. So yeah, that was it. It just is what it is, and Connor knows the gravity of his words at the same time.
All right, about Connor, and we have our resident Ducks fan, South Park, checking in, and he wants me to ask you guys and we've talked about this a little bit, but it's on display I think a little bit tonight. Why does McDavid do the same thing over and over, trying the 1-on-4 highlight reel play? Is not a style of play that translates to winning. It seems like, I don't know, maybe it's just this year, Struddy, maybe I have that fan brain, but it seems like he's trying this more and more. Yeah, it happens once in a while. We get the highlight reel goal, but it does seem like teams they just stack up behind him and someone's going to get that puck eventually, right?
Well, I spoke to this earlier. I think that he just has so much on him right now. He wants to do so much to help the team. And I love Brownie's follow-up comment suggesting that that's what great players do. They want to be the difference maker. But I do think that, yeah, he's going to break a few. There's no doubt about it. And he is an amazing player. But when you're trying to do it too much, they just tend to pack the middle, keep it to the outside, and it's hard to get through. And we saw it last game on the power play. Like, trying to get to the middle so hard, and there's a lot of guys there. So maybe with Leon out, he doesn't feel as comfortable giving the puck up. But I think you do have to trust your teammates. And then I like Connor off the rush, but I love when he gets the puck off gives it to someone and gets it back. Now he has a little bit of space to move, and maybe 1 or 2 less defenders to beat. Instead of 4, it's maybe just 2.
I think you and Brownie hit on it earlier in the show too. He's just trying to do so much. And I just think, plays like that are him, trying to take it on. And he's a brilliant player. And some of the greatest highlights we've seen of McDavid are him going through 4 guys. He's a guy that can do that. But he's taken on a lot.
Lauren the Alchemist says, can you break down Szymanski's goal? Wowza. Do you guys, I don't know if you'd remember this, but remember Pavel Brendel? First, and he was like kind of highly touted, fizzled, never, didn't really turn into much of anything, first round pick. I just remember because I remember his first NHL goal was a dump in, and by the time it was in the net, he was on the bench. He dumped it in from center and it hit something and redirected. And I just thought, to score your first NHL goal that way is pretty bizarre. And what did you see happen there, Struddy?
It was a weird one. I still don't really understand how it went in on Vasilevsky, but it was just a scrum against the wall. Everyone's in there, and Szymanski just touched it. Then Tampa tried to throw it back towards the net and to their goaltender, just kind of get away from pressure because there was 3 Oilers right there, and it just kind of hop, skipped, and jumped in the net. It was mind blowing. But again, that's his phone will have blown up. Szymanski.
Oh God.
blowing up from friends. Congratulations. Way to bury one. Like his buddies will be
Great
relentless
story.
on him. It is
It's
a great story. And it was funny because no one really knew who, like, I don't know if you guys are watching. Well, you didn't watch the broadcast, Shocker, but who was that? Was that Savoy's goal? Like, no one knows whose goal it was. And then I even had to watch it a few times, like, what the hell happened? And so it didn't seem like a big scoring play, but whatever. It's great goal. And your first one, special, man. That'll be a great story to tell for years from now.
And a shout out to Stevie Taylor, who threw into the Got Your Back chat tonight. Might have been the line of the night. He goes, that's a great trivia question. Who scored Josh Szymanski's first NHL goal? Which you can ask that one. It could have wasn't him.
Hey, Struddy, I know every defenseman, tips a goal in from time to time on their goalie. Did you ever bury one? Did you ever accidentally bury one?
No, but I had to go off my feet. I remember one time, Pat Quinn, it was a game-winning goal. I don't remember which team, and they shot it and went right into my feet and right into the net. And after Pat just ripped me in the media, well, not ripped me, but like, we have a D-man putting pucks in his own net. What the hell was he doing in there? I'm like, I don't know. I guess I'm a D-man. I'm supposed to be there, right? So, that's a rite of passage, man. Although that one, I've never seen that or done that before.
People still, this is not uncommon for the last little while, people coming at Nuge a little bit. Are we feeling good about Nuge? McDavid doesn't seem to have a shooting winger. I feel like Nuge is not pulling his weight. 30+ goals is not a big ask when you're playing with 97. Justin Hammy saying Nuge has accomplished nothing 5-on-5 in the past few months. What's your, you've made your point made about your feeling made about what you would do with that first line. What do you think about Nuge's game? Is it just a comfort level for McDavid, you think?
Excuse me, a comfort level. I think Connor likes playing with Nuge and Hopkins. I think, he's sure-handed. He can make plays, reasonably responsible in the defensive end of the ice. But like the even strength production hasn't been great. Long stretches this year without even strength, scoring even strength goals. Not necessarily driving it when he gets on another line. So, I think what you've got here, Struds, is you've got a really, really good third line center or a complementary winger. But it might not be a top line complementary winger this year. I'm not sure.
Yeah, yes. I think he has a goal scorer in Zach Hyman beside him. Zach is a scorer. That's what he's doing. He's got almost 30-some goals or close to 30, whatever it is. I think that's not unfair comment. He does have that. I think Nuge is more the facilitator. Nuge is at his best when he's getting shots off inside the dots. And you know what? He gets into those areas. I don't think he's getting there as much right now to get those shots. He's got a good shot. I'd like to see him shooting if I was the coach of the team. But he's got to get inside the dots, even below the dots, get in those shooting areas and let that puck fly more often. Maybe that's something you could look to do more to take pressure off Connor, because he'd now be an out for Connor when Connor's, got the puck on his stick and trying to beat a few guys.
Okay, two more here. John Swift wants to know, pull back the curtain a little bit. He says, what are the players discussing covering their mouths before offensive zone faceoffs? Don't they already know what they're supposed to do? Struddy, what's the depth of that pre-faceoff chit chat?
Yeah, this is the easy one. So they're trying to create a play, right? They're trying to do a play they don't want the other team. So, hey, I'm going to do this or do that, because the Oilers have a couple preset plays, I think in both ends, that they want to use. They just don't want the other team to know. So that's why they know what they're doing. They're just trying to make it clear that everyone knows exactly what everyone else is doing.
And when they're covering the mouths on the bench, when the trainer's talking to the players, it's so they don't want people reading lips as to what might be wrong with them.
Back, hip.
Yeah.
Etc. Okay, last one. A couple I'm going to kind of string together here. Canadian says, with how the Oilers have played this year against the upper echelon teams in the league, how can they realistically include themselves in that class this season? And I don't know that they do, but let's have that hanging out there. And then what was the follow-up that I wanted? Well, I can't find it, but it basically amounted to, what's your level of confidence in this team heading into the playoffs if they make it. Shogger, you want to go first?
Well, if they can get a Pacific Division matchup in the first round, like if they can avoid the Central till the conference finals, then I could see them certainly making the conference finals, Struds. But that's really not saying that much this year. That's not a huge compliment. You might be able to get through the Pacific.
Yeah, if I know 2-9's coming back, I feel pretty good about their chances beating up people in the Pacific Division. The problem is I've given this team kind of different markers to find their game, and they haven't quite locked into it, right? Okay, they'll get it after 20. They'll get it before Christmas. They'll get it before the Olympic break. They'll get it on that big homestand. They'll get it after. And like, still isn't there, right? That consistency is not there. And man, that's got to be frustrating for the whole team, players and coaches included.
All right, fellas.
That's it. That was Ask Us Anything.
Yeah.
Brought to you by Bernie's Electric Supplies. Thanks so much for all your contributions. We appreciate you. Let's get to our play of the day. It's brought to you by Modern Measure. Graduation, wedding season officially here, and Modern Measure offers fantastic promos to not only help make your big day a special one, but also helps your wallet. Design your custom made-to-measure suit and customize it just for you. Visit mdrnmeasure.com. I'm in another one of my Modern Measure custom shirts. Comfortable as can be. Loving my custom stuff. I haven't really done much of this over the years. All these years I've been buying dress clothes. Just now getting into the customs. And Struds, we'll have to get you down there. All the FaceTime you've been getting on the big show these days.
Yeah, they want me to look sexy. That's for sure. That's what I'm the best at.
Well, Modern can help.
So their play of the game is a pretty funny one. It is a fight to happen, say, like right away in the game. Garrett Wilson, longtime minor leaguer, goes up against Ryan Reeves, and they fight. And whatever, these things happen. But the referee comes in and he goes to to make the announcement of the penalties, and he goes 5 minutes each for chucking knucks. And I love when refs do this. I think it's pretty funny when they do it. Macaulay's done a bunch of different things. And pretty good. Should be mentioned, Ryan Reeves looks like he dislocated his finger in this fight.
Oh, I was going to say, did you see that? Yeah, trying to yank it back into place. Now, would that be from hanging on? That's the hanging on hand, right?
Your fingers get twisted in the jersey. I actually think the same thing happened to Cirelli, because he left and you could see him looking down at his hand. He looked at his coach and he kind of looked down at his hand. I think something happened to his finger. Same thing.
All right, that is the play of the day. Great job tonight, fellas. Zuby, solid work, my friend. Why don't you take Sunday off?
That's a heck of an idea.
Rest
I've
up.
got kids. There's no days off. If I'm off from this, I'm helping out.
Yeah. Struds, anything planned for you on an off Sunday?
Yeah, got some volleyball, my daughter's volleyball, so I'll be down there cheering first thing tomorrow morning, 8 a.m.
Nice. Well, good luck to her.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, boys. We'll chat in a couple of days. Oilers against Utah on Tuesday night. That is when we shall return for another episode of Got Your Back, presented by Timber House. Thanks to all of you for watching. Thanks to our sponsors. See you soon.